This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, George Stephanopoulos.
Good morning. We're back on the air right now because the House Judiciary Committee is now voting on the articles of impeachment against President Trump. Two articles at issue, one for abuse of power, the second for obstruction of Congress. The roll call now in that Judiciary Committee, divided along party lines on the article of abuse of power. Let's listen.
Votes no. Mr. Buck?
No.
Mr. Buck votes no. Mr. Radcliffe? No. Mr. Radcliffe votes no. Ms. Roby?
No.
Ms. Roby votes no. Mr. Gates?
No.
Mr. Gates votes no.
So
Mr.
far,
Johnson
every
of
Democrat
Louisiana
has voted yes.
Mr. Johnson of
Every
Louisiana
Republican
votes
voted no.
Mr. Biggs?
No.
Again, this is
Mr.
on
Biggs
abuse of
votes
power
no.
related to the president's
Mr. McClintock?
No.
crushing of Ukraine
Mr. McClintock votes no.
to announce
Ms.
investigations
Lesko?
into Joe Biden and the Democrats.
Ms. Lesko votes no. Mr. Reschenthaler?
Withholding a White House meeting.
Mr. Reschenthaler votes no.
And according to Democrats,
Mr. Klein?
close to $400 million in military
Mr.
aid.
Klein votes no. Mr. Armstrong?
No.
Mr. Armstrong votes no. Mr. Stubbe?
No.
Mr. Stubbe votes no.
Has every member voted who wishes to vote?
Mr. Chairman, may I ask how I'm recorded?
How is the gentleman recorded?
Mr. Gohmert, you are recorded as no.
Yeah, I want to make sure.
The clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, there are 23 ayes and 17 noes.
The article is agreed to. The question now is on Article 2 of the resolution, impeaching President Donald J. Trump for obstructing Congress. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Nadler?
So there you have it. The House Judiciary
Mr.
Committee has
Nadler
now
votes
approved
aye.
an article of impeachment against President
Loeffler?
Trump.
Aye.
Ms. Loeffler
Terry Moran
votes
there
aye.
on Capitol Hill as they're voting on the
Jackson
second
Lee
article
votes
for
aye. Ms.
obstruction
Jackson
of
Lee votes
Congress.
aye.
This is now the fourth
Keller?
time in American history the House Judiciary
Keller
Committee has
votes aye.
voted articles of impeachment
Mr.
out
Johnson of Georgia?
against the sitting president.
Mr. Johnson
It
of
is,
Georgia
and it is
votes
a
aye.
historic moment taken along strict party lines, and that is an achievement of the president. It has to be considered that way. When this story broke and the transcript of that phone call between President Trump and President Zelensky came to light, you saw some Republicans up here waver a bit. They called it troubling in public. They said it was not okay. But because of the president's very staunch defense of his own behavior, because of the natural partisanship that boils over on this in this Capitol every day, they are now a strict party line vote. That call was perfect. That is the Republican defense line of the president. No more wavering, no more troubled reflection on whether or not we want presidents to do this with foreign leaders. You are watching right now a political accomplishment by President Trump in this party line vote, and he's praising them as warriors.
On the House Judiciary Committee, the second article now being voted on.
Ms. McBath
Democrats have
votes aye.
again all voted aye.
Mr. Stanton?
Aye.
Mr. Stanton votes aye. Ms. Dean?
Aye.
Ms. Dean votes aye. Ms. McCarcel-Powell?
Aye.
Ms. McCarcel-Powell votes aye. Ms. Escobar?
Aye.
Ms. Escobar votes aye. Mr. Collins?
No.
Mr. Collins votes no.
And you hear again those
Mr.
Republicans
Sensenbrenner?
voting no. John
Mr.
Carl, as
Sensenbrenner votes
Terry
no.
Moran just said, perhaps a
Shabbat?
political achievement
Mr.
for the
Shabbat
president
votes no.
to hold his party
Gohmert?
together, at least on this vote.
Mr. Gohmert
So far,
votes
of course,
no.
a trial is coming in the Senate,
Jordan?
and so far it appears
Mr.
that he
Jordan
has
votes
strong
no.
support, if not unanimous
Buck?
support, among Senate Republicans
Buck votes
as
no.
well. But this was
Mr.
still a
Radcliffe?
mark he does not
Mr.
want on his
Radcliffe
record.
votes no.
A mark he does not want on his record. He goes down in history. This is the beginning of the process of him going down in history as only the third president to be impeached. Of course, Andrew Johnson, Bill Clinton, Richard Nixon, obviously resigning before it reached this level. This is something the president did not want, a mark, a scar on his legacy. But I have to completely agree with Terry Moran. This is a victory of sorts for the president in that it is a purely party line vote. It enables the White House to say this is a partisan process. This is the president's political opponents going into an election year trying to put a stain on his legacy and perhaps on his chances for re-election, although I have to say Republicans feel pretty good right now where they are.
And the second article has now been voted on.
The resolution is amended as ordered, reported favorably to the House. Members will have 2 days to submit views. The resolution will be reported as a single amendment in the nature of a substitute. Without objection, staff is authorized to make technical and conforming changes. Without objection, the committee is adjourned.
Mr. Chairman,
For what purpose does the gentleman seek recognition?
pursuant to Clause 2L of Rule 11, I give notice of intent to file dissenting views.
Notice is heard. Without objection, the committee is adjourned.
So there you have it. The House Judiciary Committee has now approved 2 articles of impeachment against President Donald John Trump. In fact, that is how the final resolution does read. Donald John Trump has been impeached on those 2 articles. Only change made in the committee, started changing it from Donald J. Trump to Donald John Trump. But there you see it, 2 strict party line votes on abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. These articles of impeachment will now go to the House floor. That is likely to be voted on by midweek before Christmas. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has said she wants to move for a quick vote. President Trump has also said he wants a quick trial in the Senate. With that, he has agreement from the Senate Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, as well. We will likely be coming back at the first of the year for that trial of President Trump on these 2 articles of impeachment. The next step, the House floor, that is next week. We're going to return now to regular programming. For many of you, that is Good Morning America.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.